Hello, everybody. You are watching the Thoughts Count Anywhere podcast coming to you live from Power Play Sports in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. We are the masked thoughtsmen for the night, although we are missing one of our compatriots. My name under the mask is I'm the masked giant. Sitting next to me is the masked 49er. And
Undefeated 49er.
Undefeated 49er. Next to him,
the Wolverine.
The masked Wolverine. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We are here to have some fun and share with you our thoughts and insights in the world of professional wrestling. You know, I feel like they can't see my goatee. Otherwise, I would have felt like the Patriots, seeing the goatee, too. Anyway.
Did you say Patriots?
Patriot. No, I did not say the Patriots. I said the Patriot. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Please make sure. Oh, I forgot. Our fourth partner is here, is he not? Where's Head? Al Snow. Wait a minute. Al Snow dropped us off a little present. There he is. There's Head, our version of Head.
No, it's Johnny.
It's Johnny. Johnny Eagle is here on the table. Johnny is not here in person, but we haven't.
Stay quiet, though.
He's here to stay quiet tonight. That's why we put the mask on him. So I guess we all are here. The four masked thoughtsmen are here. I don't know how guys wear this mask. My chin is like in a chin strap in this thing. Anyway, I got the Giants represented. I want to thank our owner, whenever he shows up, Scott here, he was kind enough to bring these in for us. This is pretty cool, actually. Always wanted to have a mask. Now I got one. Guys, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Mr. Wolverine down there, how are you?
I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I just got back from a little trip of relaxation, spending time with my daughter
Oh,
and my wife. And needless to say, we're enjoying the time getting back into the swing of things and looking forward to tonight's show.
right on. And I know we got a lot to talk about. So, as always, we're going to start off tonight's show with a little segment that we like to call I Hear Voices. Where have we heard that
Can we
before?
hear this anywhere in these voices?
No, I don't know. My chin is so tight against I'm going to have a lockjaw by the time this night. I don't know how they do this. Matter of fact,
You know what? I think I'm going to unmask.
yeah, I don't know.
We're unmasked.
Because I don't know.
Fun.
Man, oh my goodness. I don't know how wrestlers wear these, the
I
luchas.
couldn't imagine doing a 60-minute match in this
God
thing.
bless you.
guys are
God bless the
brave.
Luchas.
Oh my goodness. Oh, hi there.
Yeah,
There was an
now we're
audience
here.
out there. We are back. Yeah, right. Anyway,
Wait, Johnny's still masked.
wait, Johnny. Yeah, we got to keep Johnny
Yeah,
masked.
Johnny's
Wait, do I see?
It's
I
still a
think,
little quiet.
I was going to say, is that him right there?
Wow.
I think Johnny's
Johnny?
watching.
No, Johnny, you're right here.
Oh, he's in two places at once.
Yes.
I got to put my headset on so I know that we're actually on the air creating audio. But anyway, we want to thank everybody for watching tonight. And if you could, as always, please simply reshare our feed and let everybody join in on the craziness that we do. Actually, we just kind of celebrated Halloween a little early by wearing those things, didn't we? Something we did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what we did. We did something there with those masks.
Dude,
A little more Dia de los Muertos.
Who?
What?
Dia de los Muertos, the Mexican Halloween, Day of the Dead.
Oh, is that what it is?
Lucha masks.
Walking Dead? Yeah. Disneyland had a whole setup for Halloween like
Oh.
that. And it was quite impressive.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you just taught me something there, fellers. I thought you were just trying to say something like important in that language. I had no idea what it is. In the meantime, I'm trying to bring up our page on my phone so I can chat with you folks in the chat room. I know we have some people out there. I do see Johnny's out there, and I have a funny feeling we're going to get some nasty messages from him in the chat room at any time, but that's okay. We're having a little fun at his expense. Unfortunately, he could not be with us today, at least in full spirit. We do have him here in mask.
Yep.
As he is taking care of some personal business. So you get the three of us. It's good to be back with you guys. I've had to miss the last couple of shows, but I must say, fellas, you guys did very well in my absence, holding down the fort, which I greatly appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very
And we're
much.
trying, just so people know and they're watching the podcast, we're trying to clean up the backdrop.
Yeah.
We're temporarily doing some things, but it's going to be bigger and better in the future. And we're making some strides to be the number one podcast on the West Coast.
Absolutely. Our backdrop is currently under construction,
Yes,
right?
under construction. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the key phrase. All right, let's go back to I Hear Voices. So we have some things happening in the world. So, Matt, why don't you start us off with some of the rumor mills out in the world of professional wrestling?
Our title, I Hear Voices, kind of has a
Dual meaning.
dual meaning to
Yeah.
it because the main person causing rumors this week is the guy that hears voices in his head. They talk to him. They understand.
And that is
Randy Orton
the man,
with
the
his
Viper.
cryptic Instagram, putting a tweet or Instagram out there with a elite sign, tagging a whole bunch of people that aren't too happy with WWE, kind of hinting that some people may be going to AEW soon.
And what other kind of names did he throw out there?
They put Luke Harper, Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, Riddick Moss, and Elias.
Shane McMahon. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. We'll see him walk on the show. Hey, Dad, I just bought this for him from you.
Brian's listening out there or watching. How you doing, Brian? We'll see you this weekend.
Who's Brian?
He's one of my vendors. He does a lot of the little pop creatures, I call them.
Oh, okay.
He comes in. By the way, we'll be all set up at the Galleria Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the sports card, toy, and collectible show. Matt and I will both be there. So if you want to come down and talk wrestling or talk about the podcast, give us some suggestions. Like I said, Matt and I will both be there all weekend. Come on down, talk to us.
They're going to be there all weekend because they have nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, right? Okay, so what do you think about Orton's post? You think it's now? I don't know anything about his contract terms. I don't know when his contract runs out. It's interesting though that he spoke of the list of names, Matt, that you threw out there. To me, the ones that stand out the most is going to be Luke Harper and Elias. I haven't seen Elias on TV in a little bit. Is he injured?
Last I heard, he has like an ankle injury.
He does. Okay, so he has a little injury going on. But to me, Harper and Elias, I think, are the two major names that surprised me. What do you guys think?
I think that kind of surprised me too, especially Elias. Luke Harper, it kind of makes sense because he's barely been on TV outside of this whole Eric Rowan, Luke Harper reuniting for the I don't know how many time now.
Right. But, Scott, I mean, to me, Luke Harper has so much he could have delivered for WWE, and how he got put on the doo-doo list and got to this point surprises me.
It does surprise you. He's got a lot of talent, but you don't know what kind of a locker room guy he is. And that has a lot to do with Vince McMahon. You got to be a locker room guy.
Yeah, but
Corbin's a great locker room guy.
Right.
A lot of us hate him,
Right.
but he's playing his character. Elias brings back a couple weeks ago when I was in here talking about the picture of him and Jericho together. So does that solidify that whole situation? Well, it'll be a wait and see. And Randy signed, I'm pretty sure, through at least April, if I'm not here.
Okay.
So that would, there's some time there, but doesn't mean Vince isn't going to take him off camera.
Right.
I'll look into more research since his aunt does live here. His father, Bob Orton Sr.,
right,
used to live here in town.
Okay.
That's how I do know the family. I remember seeing Randy before he signed with WWE,
right,
with Cowboy Bob at a
Sure.
show. Little Randy Orton, which, he nudged me and said, Vince is going to sign my boy. And I looked over and, he was a scrawny little kid right out of the Marine Corps. And I'm like, yeah, right. And then
look at him
months
today,
later,
right?
Yeah.
You know what? One thing about Randy Orton, and there are some guys in all of professional wrestling that are really, really put together. But to me, Randy Orton is smartly put together. His thighs, just the strength in his quads, when you look at how big his legs are, and he's built them.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think he has the one of the best physical body structures in wrestling. I know we got Hammerstone and we got all the guys that look like they're carved out of marble, but there's something about Orton's body physique-wise that just makes him so strong.
Well, the genetics there, Bob Sr. and Bob Jr. were big guys,
Mhm.
took care of their bodies, except, Bob Jr.'s had that broken arm now for, I think, 30 years. But Randy, but it also shows, Randy has kept himself in shape, has a great physique, great body for wrestling, but how many times has he had surgery? He's
Right.
been under the knife so many times, but that's just the wear and tear that these guys go through. So anybody out there that says it's fake, go away. I don't want to talk to you.
Him and his shoulder injuries. Those are-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awful.
constantly. Absolutely constantly. And you have another thing here, Matt, that you put on our run sheet tonight about Carlito.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me too. I read some kind of interview with Savio Vega, said he talked to Carlito, and Carlito told him WWE offered a job, and Savio Vega told him to take it and get as much money as he can.
Really?
Why wouldn't you? Anybody striving in the wrestling industry, WWE is like the major leagues. Why would you play in AAA? I have no offense to AAA itself or the wrestling organization, but when we're referring to baseball, you have a single A, AA, AAA. You're striving to be in WWE. It's got the most money.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like WWE is always touting like all the ratings, how good the wrestlers are. Well, why are they going back to all these people that like years ago were champions? Like
Well,
a
that's
couple
why-
weeks ago was John Morrison signed. Now it's Carlito.
Well, that's another thing. Morrison has kind of gone dark with all of that. No one's heard anything since all that broke when he was denying that he was signing.
Well,
So-
I think Vince basically took that input,
Took umbrage?
and said, "Shut up,"
That's right.
because he could have been a great SmackDown surprise draft
Right,
pick.
right.
He could be a surprise in any of the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Who knows? Maybe he shows up in Saudi.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
helps
That'd be
out
cool.
helps out the Fiend, maybe. You know, there's all possibilities. But if you keep saying that he's going to be there, or he keeps saying he's going to be there, everybody's looking out from the surprise. Impact is gone.
True.
And I said the word Impact. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. 39 lashes with a wet noodle.
Yes.
One thing, whenever it's official that Morrison comes back into the ring, would you like to see him paired back up with The Miz for a tag team title again? They were pretty cool together.
Absolutely, I think I would. But the problem is Morrison's character's grown so much. If you watch his indie scene, he used to, be that odd man. Other than the video of him coming out the rock star, and Miz's character's grown so much. They might clash.
Interesting. But to have them kind of come back together with their new characterization may not,
or maybe feud.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Leaving Miz behind or whatever. Absolutely. I could see definitely a guilt trip kind of thing. It's funny. One thing we didn't have on the sheet, the Saudi Arabia card is this week, is it not? Or is it next week?
Next week.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween. Okay. So we have one more week. We could discuss that card in a little more detail next week then. Okay. So if you folks out there watching, which we appreciate, number one, please reshare our feed. If you have any more rumors out there that you'd like to throw out into the chat box, we'd love to hear it. Anything that you would like us to discuss or share our insight, we'd be more than happy to. So please put that in the box. I am monitoring it from my trusty phone.
I'm looking at mine too. We got Chris out there. Go Knights, go.
Yep. Excellent. We appreciate it. Invite your friends to watch. And also go to our Thoughts Count Anywhere page and like us. We appreciate that too. Okay. So let's move on. Of course, we're going to cover SmackDown and Raw kind of together. We realized tonight NXT and AEW is kind of going at it in the Wednesday night. Is it really a Wednesday night war here? I mean, you look at the numbers over the first couple of weeks. Yeah, AEW is still kind of keeping the numbers up on NXT, but both shows are tanking week after
absolutely.
week after
the
week.
numbers are, like you said, are there, but they're just dropping. Once again, I go back to that's the reason Vince goes back to the Hulk Hogans and the Stone Colds
Right.
and the Goldbergs. You like them or not, you walk down the street and you say Stone Cold Steve Austin or Rock, people know who they are.
Absolutely.
They don't know who necessarily, not Xavier Woods.
Right. Well, and I think this is where, if you remember back in those days of the Attitude Era, and guys, your thoughts on this, obviously, I think the wrestlers were more open, or the industry, or at least WWE, was allowing the wrestlers to become the draw. Where now today, and we hear this a lot through the grapevine, Vince doesn't want anybody to be bigger than the WWE. And I think possibly that may be why we don't have the Hulk Hogan-esque names that are out there more streamlined. Your thoughts?
Matt?
I think that's pretty true, because it seems like WWE, so you have to say this. They give him scripts now, and
Except for about 3 people, I think, don't have.
there's only like
scripts.
a couple people that don't have scripts, but for the most part, all the bigger names, pretty much, you're gonna say this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Back in the day, it was get yourself over by whatever you have to do, but get these bullet points across.
Right.
I'll play devil's advocate. I'll play the heel here. I agree to so much there, but then disagree, because I really think today's wrestlers that are breaking in aren't putting their time in to do proper interviews, to do a proper character. And also, I'm not really keen on Vince hiring a lot of backstage producers and that have Hollywood movie experience, where in the old days you had the JRs in the back, you had
Right.
the JJ Dillons, the Pat Pattersons,
Mhm.
guys with huge amount of wrestling knowledge. I remember CAC one time where I'm sitting there with JR, JJ Dillon, and Pat Patterson, and I looked at all three and I'm like, literally I have, a third each of Vince McMahon's brain power right here. And you become the sponge, and I just sat there and listened to the stories.
Well, I want to hang out with you at CAC this year.
Well, there won't be a CAC. No, never mind.
This year?
There will be a CAC.
I got the newsletter that says there's one.
I'm still a lifetime member, but I will not be there. I will not be attending. But
Doggone it.
for those who know me, know the story.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Matt, you were talking, and so were you, Aaron, about the script being held back. Is it the fact that Vince is being the control freak, or is it the guys really not putting in the time to be a character? And sort of like kids in wrestling schools, they immediately want to do the high spot. Are they not putting in the time and learning the trade? That just it.
And the psychology and all of that
Exactly.
stuff.
We don't have the Nick Bockwinkel's anymore, or the Tully Blanchards or the guys that know the psychology, sitting there and having dinner with Tully Blanchard, it's a whole new experience listening to his story with Dusty Rhodes. Do you realize it was Tully Blanchard that made Dusty the star he was? Dusty had all the backstage knowledge, but most promoters, because of Dusty's size, would only let him do a 5-minute match. It wasn't until Tully and him started their feud that they did Broadways for 60 minutes. That was like, holy crap, this guy who looks like the plumber's son is actually a hell of a wrestler. And that's what springboarded him on the front end of the camera to be the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. So I'm just concerned with how we look at the whole thing with the characters and the Vince McMahon ego. It's either way.
It's kind of can play it either way, really,
True.
but I think it's more of the Vince McMahon, like, I kind of think he's like holding people back, but he's not.
Does he not trust him, though? Like a CM Punk?
I think after he's been burned so many times, I really doesn't think he trusts a lot of people.
True. You had the whole Medusa thing. Dropping the trash can.
Or the Ultimate Warrior, like holding him up backstage, he's like, give me 80 grand or I'm not going out there. Stuff like that. You can only do that to one person so many times.
True.
Like Vince McMahon is like this mythical figure of wrestling, but he is a human.
True. Absolutely.
So let me throw this into the mix, though. NXT, which rumors, Triple H is pretty much running NXT. Is that a fair assessment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we'd all agree that the characters in NXT seem to be much more polished and delivered, and even promos are delivered better than the main roster in a lot of ways, except for the Daniel Bryants, John Cena's, The Rocks, Steve Austin. I can't think of anybody else in the current roster that probably has doesn't have anybody's hands in their back saying their words.
Bray Wyatt.
Okay, right. Bray Wyatt has full control, right? Thank you.
Even Roman Reigns can't hold the candle unless he's talking about his own personal life.
Exactly.
For that, but you saw that with the whole John Cena interview when they would
in the ring back. My God,
he was stepping all over himself.
My God, what a shoot that was. So my thought is that are we seeing both playing fields being played out right in front of us? NXT, are they being allowed to have their own control versus the main roster, which primarily is controlled by creative? Are we seeing that disparity? Seeing it work better in NXT, where the guys have more freedom, perhaps, than the main roster?
It's thoughts. Thoughts count anywhere.
That's my thought.
Yeah,
the question is are we seeing the difference in the two methodology happening right in front of us within the WWE world? Because we know in AEW, the guys out there say whatever they want. So
I guess I go back to being the heel again, but I agree 100% with you. But is it the star? But is it the star? But is it the star power of WWE that has gone to their head, aka Sasha Banks? She came in, cut a great interview, and worked the crowd. Was great when she was at NXT. Then she got all the money and all the stardom. And does it go to your head? And you forget where your roots are.
Look who her cousin is.
I think they start putting themselves on like autopilot and just going through the motions at some point.
And stop caring about the industry.
Well, I think Becky Lynch kind of said it best this week in a tweet. Did you see or hear what she said?
Absolutely.
She says, I'm not able to be the way I want to be in the ring, but if you really want to see me have fun, you better follow me on Twitter or something along those lines, where she has a lot more freedom, so to speak.
I saw a Drew McIntyre interview, too, where he was like, I don't care how many people I make mad in the locker room over this, but it seems people don't care anymore. They just didn't want to play best. They want to go backstage and play video games. And they don't want to put the work in, and it seems like people are just coasting.
Well, if somebody's there controlling what they're doing, why would they want to put their best in? If they know they're going to be told what to do, why do they really have to get better at their craft when they're being told within a box, this is how you need to perform? Again, just a devil's advocate thought.
Yeah, we're working both sides of the coin.
Why don't we ask Johnny what he thinks?
Yeah, Johnny, what do you say?
Wait a little quiet this week, bro. What's going on?
And we got some other listeners out there. We got Eric, we got Elizabeth, we got Matthew. Thank you, and I'll see you all this weekend, I'm sure.
Right. I don't know why my phone's not updating. Neither is my chat room on my laptop.
Do you have an Apple over there?
Do I what?
An Apple?
No.
Oh,
I do.
Is it a sweet apple? Is it a Granny?
Going on my friends too.
Do you? I may have to because my Android. I mean, I'm stuck on I see 5 people, Anyway, okay. So, I mean, it's an interesting topic. And the question is, how is that translating to the ratings like what started this entire conversation? All right, let's talk about Australia. Some injury bug may have been bitten out there. There were a couple of injured, one more serious than a couple others that I read. But why don't you talk about the one that comes to mind over in Australia and what that could mean for his partners?
There was a incident in Sydney, Australia, where Xavier Woods hurt his Achilles heel, which most likely is his Achilles tendon, which is usually like a 5 or 6 month recovery period. So we send the power of positivity to Xavier Woods because his New Day members are going to be a member short for a while.
Well, you can work at Waffle House during that interview. Oh, that's Waffle House, not Pancakes. Sorry.
You're gonna see a lot more stuff from up, down, down. I'm guessing.
So, what do they do with the tag team now? Is that going to mean Xavier and not Xavier? I'm sorry, Big E and Kofi. Now we're going to see them pretty much hanging as a tag. Where's Kofi now after losing in 15 seconds to Brock on the premiere of SmackDown? Where does that leave Kofi after his run as champion, which really made a great story socially?
He should stay in the main event picture, but
wait a minute, I know why
we'll
we're not
see.
hearing Johnny. Hold on a second. Does he have a microphone over there?
No, he doesn't.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
It's on. No, I guess it's not. All right. Al Snow brought that over for us, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, so I hope he does. I hope he does stay in the picture because his story this year was like when Daniel Bryan won the title, that underdog mentality, and after 6 months. He gets squashed in 15 seconds. I don't know if I don't agree with how they had him lose to one F5 when it took multiple F5s in the past for Lesnar to beat guys.
True.
And it took one F5 to beat Kofi in 15 seconds to give up the title. I don't agree with that, the way they ended that.
They kind of do like all these like documentaries backstage now and kind of the reality era. I hope there's some kind of video out there of some producer walking up to Kofi and being like, hey, we're going over your match right now. You're going to run and jump on the Brock's shoulders, and that's it. I just want to see what the look on his face was.
Yeah, and it's a shame that that's the way that they did. I was so shocked when I read that. First of all, I was disgusted that they put the belt back on Lesnar again. Now, granted, Fox, rumor has it, is that they wanted Lesnar to have the belt going into the launch, okay? But I'm tired of the Brock scene. Personally, I'm tired of the Brock every once in a while. Now, supposedly he's going to be a little more visible now that he supposedly is done with MMA. Is that right? He's supposed to be done? He retired from MMA?
He's been done since he's come back to WWE.
But he's made it well.
He's been more public.
That one Mark Hunt fight.
He's been more public about it. But so supposedly with that being off his plate, he may make more appearances in wrestling. But I'm over this Brock Beast thing that we only see him once every 3 pay-per-views to defend his title.
And I think that holds back the rest of the roster, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what is it doing to viewership with him being champion? Obviously, with SmackDown numbers declining every week, having him champ means nothing. That's meant nothing.
Nothing at all.
Very true.
Right? So
I think it kind of diminishes the product when you're champion. Like, it makes it a little more special when the champ shows up, kind of like that, but people want to see the champion. People want to see him defend it.
Well, I think Friday was a bad night anyway because most families are doing family things, movies, going out to dinner, things of that nature. Yes, we have the DVR and we have the replays and things like that on the networks. But I really think if they want that live number, they needed to pick another night. I don't see any reason they should have just picked Friday. That to me was like a death knell automatically.
That's where shows go to die.
Yeah.
You don't start off to die there.
It wasn't Cheers.
It's where you end up.
Tuesdays, Thursdays,
Yeah.
because nothing was going on. The family had to sit in front of the TV.
Well, NBC's Thursday night was like their prime night for comedy, right?
Yes.
Thursday night lineup was the key slot to be in. Okay, let me see. What else we want to talk? Why don't you guys pick a topic next that you want to talk about? Raw or SmackDown, whatever you want.
I want to talk about the Edge cards in the video game.
Okay.
Matt filled me in on that. Me being a sports collectibles business, I guess my understanding is those who bought the video game of
It was like the SmackDown 20th anniversary version of the game.
You got the card of Edge, and they were all supposed to be signed.
Uh-oh.
And none of them are signed because obviously there was a oops. But Edge has come out, and Matt, tell us what Edge. I mean, a stand-up guy. It sounds like.
Yeah, some guy tweeted at Edge and said, like, man, this sucks that my plaque didn't come signed. Edge actually responded and said he was like, man, that sucks. I'm filming a movie currently for like the next month, but as soon as I get home, I'll set up a P.O. box, and anybody whose plaque didn't get signed, you can send it to me, and I'll sign them and send them all back to everybody. So that's a real stand-up thing to do.
Absolutely. Shows the character of one of the greatest singles and tag team wrestlers out there that still cares about the fans.
Are we going to see Edge in a ring soon? He was cleared.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
I don't think so. He's too busy doing like movies and
absolutely.
stuff.
Just to say you're clear.
Why risk yourself?
Come in and do the cameo spot now and then, but wrestling, I think it's behind him.
I hope so. I mean, Daniel Bryan put out a message a month or so ago that his time in wrestling is kind of winding down because he wants to be a family man.
Sure.
They're talking about having another baby, which I'm sure we'll see on the Diva show when it comes back. So, these guys with serious injuries, I'd be afraid to. I don't want to. Like, speaking of serious injuries, I know I'm jumping ahead. We'll talk about the La Parka thing in a little bit on the indie route. But okay, let's talk about some other. I want to talk about SmackDown. I want to go SmackDown again for a second. Bayley, are we buying this heel turn? What's your thoughts on what she's doing as the new Bayley? When you saw her cutting up the Huggies, what did you think?
I saw it live, and I couldn't figure out what she was doing for a second. Then I realized her hair was cut, and she was actually getting rid of them. And I was like, oh, you're finally doing something interesting.
Okay. How about did you see her on the Miz spot this past week?
Yeah, Sasha? I watched it.
What was your thoughts about how she handled being this new persona?
She's definitely trying to be a heel. I've honestly never liked her from the get-go, but she's always been a heel to me.
Really,
but now she's just annoying about it.
She's an annoying heel right now. I kind of like the new hairdo personally.
I like her music though. Her music's really cool.
Okay.
I was never impressed with Bayley in the first place. If she had that little schoolgirl, image and things like that, and the smaller kids, they got to think about that aftermarket, the T-shirts, the hats. I think she was better off being a face and being the huggy character for the little kids, sort of like the John Cena with and Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have that now. I'm not saying that the Attitude Era, but they got to try something. But I don't think it was the whole Turner heel was a good idea. I don't think she has a persona for that, at least long term.
There's no actual lovable kids women wrestler anymore.
And they got to think about that for the next generation.
Yeah.
And the script writers who are Hollywood want it all now. They don't understand the wrestling business. They need to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, and rethink some of these characters. And swapping them back and forth doesn't work. Flair could do it. A few choice people could do it. Changing their gimmick, heel face, nobody can follow it. It's sort of like why I stopped watching baseball. Too many trades, you're not with the same team, see ya.
I wanted to mention this when we were talking about Orton before. There was talk that they're going to make him a babyface again. I think he's a better heel than he is a face.
Absolute better heel.
He's a way better heel than
absolutely.
He is a babyface.
So is Sasha Banks.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? Would you agree to that?
Oh yeah.
Like Cena they could have never survived. They could have never survived. I thought you were putting it over the eagle. There you go. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have survived without that change. Cena would have never, ever been the company would never survive with Cena becoming a heel.
Oh, he did too much stuff for kids.
Yeah, exactly. He's still the number one Make-A-Wish grantor in all of Make-A-Wish history. Not just WWE.
A lot of people hated his wrestling character, but you have to respect the man that John Cena
Absolutely. What's the old saying? If you don't like the game, if you don't like the player, don't like the game, at least respect the player, whatever that saying goes.
Never
mind.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
There you go. That's the one. Okay, let's go to. I want to jump back to Raw for a storyline that I think is totally stupid, totally ludicrous, and I don't get it. Lana, Lashley, and Rusev.
How many times are we going to relive the failed marriage, boyfriend-girlfriend thing? I mean, it's like every 5 years.
But why?
And yeah,
exactly. I mean, first of all, Rusev is such a great performer. He does not deserve to be put in this kind of storyline on this low of the card. The guy was a brute. Alexander Rusev, when he first came up from NXT, he destroyed everything. Took care of John Cena to win his first title, and they'd opened. I mean, the guy's a brute. Now his high. You know, maybe this is a punishment for what he did with Rusev Day, because Vince was not happy with that he got himself over with that.
But you got to understand, maybe it's the guys that, once again, in the back. Maybe it's the Vince or the script writers that sit there and go, oh, he's getting cheered, let's make him a baby face. Not all fans love heels also. Ric Flair was a perfect heel for years. You know, and Tully Blanchard, they love the Four Horsemen. The Road Warriors were great heels. And just because you're getting over as with the fans and getting the applause and selling t-shirts doesn't mean you have to change their character to babyface.
Was Stone Cold Steve Austin ever clearly a heel or a babyface in his run during the Attitude Era?
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. He was an outright heel that the fans loved, and they bought it lock, stock, and
They
barrel.
loved the heel
They
as a
loved-
face.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, he did everything you weren't supposed to do. But,
Right. And we all wanted to
Everybody
do to our bosses.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So it's just kind of interesting. I want to talk about the. I'm sorry. I'm jumping all over the place. So bear with me.
Okay, Johnny.
Nikki. Yeah, right. Nikki. Hey, I'm just throwing the questions out there. Nikki Cross winning that 6-woman match to become the #1 contender. I don't see Nikki Cross being I don't believe Nikki Cross should be the #1 contender at this time. I don't like her style. I don't think even though she may lose, I just don't get why she would be the winner of that to be the #1 contender. Your thoughts?
Kind of didn't make sense to me either, but she's coming off the tag team title run with Alexa Bliss. I kind of figured Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville were going to win that one.
Mandy. I was thinking the same thing. There's been now that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are on the Diva show and all of that stuff, especially Sonya Deville being featured on that show. Nikki Cross does nothing for me in a feud with Bayley for that title. It means nothing to me. I would have rather seen Dana Brooke finally get an opportunity because she has changed. She's trying to be more aggressive. She's trying to get better. Physically, she looks better. Okay. I would rather see Dana Brooke get an opportunity than Nikki Cross. Yes, she was with Alexa Bliss, but let's face it, who did people really care about in that tag title? Wasn't Cross. Right.
Alexa.
Right.
and I honestly think that the Nikki Cross thing will be we'll call it, a crossroads, in the sense of, I think Alexa's going to have something to do with this and maybe come in as a spoiler.
I guess maybe I don't know.
Because I don't see the whole Nikki Cross and Bayley thing working. I mean, you got Charlotte, who's going to win 16 titles. We all know that. 17 probably, or stay like Cena at 16, mythically. But Nikki does nothing for me. Alexa's the drawing card, and she's on SmackDown.
Why was she not in that match? Still don't understand that one.
Well, she's still fighting off some of the concussion injuries that she's had over the last years. And,
No.
with all the high spots that the performers are doing, both male and female,
Mm-hmm.
it's taking tolls on their body tremendously. Their lifespan is like a running back in the NFL.
Right on.
It's
True.
very short, where you had the Nick Bockwinkel's, the Ric Flairs, the Tully Blanchards, the Pat Pattersons, I could run forever. Those guys had 20, 30-year careers. Now it's 5 years, and you're pretty much, neck surgery, back surgery, and limping the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Not to say those guys didn't, but they had longer careers because the fans aren't asking them to do. The fans are asking them to do more. And honestly, with the whole Hell in a Cell, my family, I sat them down and I let them watch the Undertaker and Foley match, or Mankind match, where Foley went off the top of the steel
Mhm.
cage, which is the first time in my wrestling fandom, or whatever you want to call it, where I said, "OF," because honestly, no one expected that,
No.
and
Not at all.
that high spot there pushed everything.
To a whole nother level.
Yeah. What can you do more? And that's what, unfortunately, the talent today is being asked to do. Thus, their careers are getting shorter. Alexa, I mean, her days are numbered because of the back injuries. We talked about Edge. Edge could have wrestled another 10 years, but, the back injury and neck injury took up with him.
Yeah.
It's constant. Look how many surgeries. It just
It's like Sheamus is the next victim of that. He has the same thing that
absolutely.
Edge had.
Edge.
Now he's on borrowed time for sure. He hasn't been on TV in quite a while now.
And that's unfortunate, because I think one of the best tag teams that were ever put together, supposedly accidentally, was Sheamus and Cesaro. And that's another guy. Cesaro, Here's a guy that should have gotten the singles push years ago, and I don't understand why he never got that push. The guy, pound for pound, is one of the strongest SOBs. When you see what he does with the swing and the power moves, how he never was able or offered the opportunity to take that next step is beyond me.
I don't get it either. He's like one of those guys that's like lost in the shuffle.
And that's kind of where I put Rusev at this point.
The mid-Carter that's not getting the push that deserves it. Is it the character building? Is there something in the back? It's hard to say. If anybody else out there has any input or has any questions, feel free to text them in. Send emails to the Facebook page. Hey, Chief is out there now. No, I've never forgotten JJ Dillon. But needless to say, if you guys have some input or, your own thoughts, please share them. Share them on your page. We'll look at them. We'll talk about them.
We want to hear everybody's thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want everybody's thoughts because they count anywhere. See what I did there, guys?
Absolutely.
Okay. I am a professional. Do not try this at home. Anyway, you are watching Thoughts Count Anywhere, where we come to you live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here from the beautiful Power Play Sports and Memorabilia Collectible Store, right here in the Boulevard Mall in the heart of Las Vegas. And we want to thank Mr. Scott on my far left, your right, as you're looking on the screen, for allowing us to do our thing here. Of course, in exchange to do that, he has to be on the mic, so I guess he really had no choice. But there you go. There you go. So come on down. We're here every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We'd love you to be part of our live audience because Scott was kind enough to put together some giveaways for our guests that show up and come be part of our audience. It's like a grab bag envelope of signed autographed wrestling pictures. Come down and take advantage of the great specials and deals and signings. You guys have some events coming up, Scott, yeah?
Absolutely. First of all, once again, we will be at the Galleria Mall this weekend. The other store I have is over at that location with a sports card, toy, and collectible show. There'll be wrestling pops, wrestling action figures, autograph stuff. But if you're not a wrestling fan, you're a football, Golden Knights fan.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sitting right across from a lot of your Golden Knights. Actually, this whole front display and a little Raiders on the end of the Raider stuff can fall off as far as I'm concerned, but all night stuff here is great stuff you have here.
I love the Knights, season ticket holder with Chris and a few other guys. And needless to say, I'm originally a Red Wings fan. I was born in Detroit, but I still root for the Wings. But being Vegas, quote unquote, born or lived here for 45 years now, I got to hand it to the Knights, and they have really moved forward in my sales here. And for the wrestling fans, on November 2nd, I have told Matt he can sit next to her. I will be going golfing with Dad, but I've got WWE Hall of Famer Tully Blanchard and his lovely daughter, probably the best, in my opinion, female wrestler out there today. November 2nd, here at the Boulevard Mall. Both of them will be doing a meet and greet. We got tickets on sale on the website here at the store. Come down the day of. We'll take care of you.
Time?
12 to 2. They'll be here for 2 hours taking pictures. You can get a picture with Tessa and Tully together. This will be, my understanding, the first time they're doing an actual scheduled signing together.
Nice. And unfortunately on November 2nd for me, which I wish I could be here for, from 12 to 2, that exact time, Twin Brothers from Different Mothers, my other podcast, will be celebrating 1 year on the air together.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because Power Play Sports, we're going to be giving away some stuff as part of our celebration down at Portnoy Gallery, 1537 West Oakey, starting it from 12 to 2. It's a special 2-hour show. But courtesy of the store here, Power Play Sports has donated not 1, but 2 autograph signed Knights hockey pucks. Reeves and who's the other one?
Braden McNabb.
Braden McNabb. And 2 $25 gift certificates to come into the store to use. So thank you, Power Play Sports, for supporting Twin Brothers. So come on down. If you're not a huge wrestling fan and you don't want to come this way, then we'll support Power Play Sports by having those items available at our show as well. We have some other giveaways. We're going to have some food, hopefully catered. Even if it's me just buying a couple of Big Macs or something, we'll have some food there.
Pancakes.
Yeah, we'll have pancakes. Yes, we'll have Matt down when he's not prepping for Tessa. He'll bring some. But anyway, so if you can do that, that would be great.
He'll be stuttering also.
I know. He'll be stuttering as well. Hopefully you'll get an interview, which you'll be able to hear that at a future TCA show. So anyway, so we are here every Wednesday night. You can catch us on what sites for podcasts, Mr. Matt? They're
We're
growing.
on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes,
SoundCloud.
and SoundCloud. And we're also putting the videos on YouTube.
Right on. So not only can you catch the past shows right here on our Facebook page for Thoughts Count Anywhere, but if you'd rather watch on YouTube, listen to the man. We're going to have a YouTube channel under the same name, I presume?
Yeah, it's under Thoughts Count Anywhere. Every previous show is already on there.
All right. Oh, you already uploaded it?
Yeah.
Oh, so we need subscribers there. Share that link on our page. I didn't know it was already up and running. Perfect. So there'll be another avenue for people to catch us. So there's no excuse to not be able to stay in tune with what we're doing here at Thoughts Count Anywhere each and every week right here on Facebook Live, courtesy of PowerPlay.